Well, hello folks, I'm James Theodore Stillwell III, and this is OpenAirAtheist. In this episode, I would like to go ahead and refute Jesse Morell's video refuting the Atheist Club. And his account, his YouTube account name is OpenAirOutreach. And Jesse Morell is an open-air preacher. He goes from campus to campus, college campus to college campus. And in this particular video, I believe he is at a university in South Florida. Just a hunch. So, Jesse Morell, you make such wild assertions, such as you say that God, your God, is the first, great, and only uncaused cause. Now, are you asserting that your God caused the Big Bang? If so, how do you suppose that would be possible? If at the Big Bang, time and space itself came into existence, and if you're saying your God existed before the Big Bang, then you're saying your God existed no time. And if you say he existed before the Big Bang, you're saying he existed nowhere and in no place, which would be utterly impossible, which means your God does not exist. Also, how could he cause anything before the Big Bang when the platform for sequential causation did not exist before the Big Bang? Time and space are the platforms for causation. Also, how could your God create something out of nothing? I mean, you would say that I couldn't create something out of nothing, correct? You would say that something doesn't come from nothing, and yet you're making the exact same claim when you say your God creates out of ex nihilo, out of nothing. So that is utterly contradictory and false. And I'd like to see how your God could speak anything into existence without a physical body, without a mouth, without lips, without a tongue. How your God could cause anything without limbs, without hands. How your God could use those hands, if he had them, to create something out of nothing. So, yeah, how could you explain that? If your God doesn't have a body, how does he exist? Is he a packet of light? Is he some sort of vapor that spreads out over everywhere? What is that? Okay, what is God? What is a spirit? I mean, the Bible says your God is a spirit, but those words are utterly meaningless. God and spirit, what the hell does that mean? Well, it's something we can't explain. It's something we don't even know that exists. We might pretend we do, but we don't really know. And so we just make these words up to give these concepts a name. Even though these concepts are really not even really concepts, because we can't conceptualize them. Can you explain to me how your God looks? Is he like a light? Is he energy? What is he? Okay. I think I've exhausted that. Okay, also, you state that your God is the precondition for morality. For an objective moral standard, and that without your God, without the God of the Bible, we could not account for morality, for an objective moral standard. But I would have to disagree with that, because I don't see how your God could be the precondition for morality. Because since your God is the God of the Bible, there is many. The God of the Bible ordered many atrocities. He's responsible for many atrocities in the so-called events that supposedly took place in the Old Testament. such as him ordering the Israelites to destroy every man, woman, and child of the Amalekites, and infants, and all of the cattle and sheep. If you think that is moral, you've got some problems, and you're at odds with most people on this planet. Also, he destroyed, according to your book, the everyone on Earth at one time, including men, women, and children and infants, in the flood story. So if that's the case, then how about if I were to go and drag a bunch of kids up here into my apartment and drown them in the tub? Would that be acceptable? I think not. That would be horrible, and I would never do such a thing like that, and I can't really think of anyone that I know of that would do something like that, because most people are pretty moral, and definitely a lot more moral than the God character described in the Bible. No, your God could not be the preconditions for any kind of morality as far as I'm concerned. And also, you claim that your God is the precondition for the immaterial laws of logic. Well, let's just assume that the laws of logic are immaterial. I would say they're a concept based off of reality. This can be here, or it cannot be here, but it can't both be here and not here at the same time. Well, I know that. How do I know that? Because I observe that experience every day. Okay? Is that a law? Well, depends on what you define a law. But really all I do is articulate this reality and call it a law. But it just simply is. It's just simply the way things are. So I don't need a God to explain logic. Anyways, it's just a humans articulating what is. Okay? There's no rhyme or reason to it. Things just are the way they are. If I were to ask you why your God exists, I guess you would say because he just exists. Well, wouldn't that be just as vague as the assertion I just made? So we don't need your God to account for logic, and your God could not account for logic because the God of the Bible is indeed illogical. There are over 63 internal contradictions just in the last 3 days recorded in the 4 Gospels. Did Jesus die on Nisan 15 or 14? Both of those statements could not be true, and it depends on which Gospel you read. Was his clothing at his trial purple or crimson? Again, it depends on which Gospel you read. Was there 2 women that discovered he resurrected, or was it 1? Depends on what Gospel you read. Were the disciples instructed to stay in Galilee, or were they instructed were they instructed to go to Galilee, or did they stay in Jerusalem? It depends on which Gospel you read. So, did the disciples behold Jesus' feet after his resurrection? It depends. Or did he say, touch me not, for I have not yet ascended to the Father? Again, it depends on what Gospel you read. And the list goes on. And if you watch my video entitled, and it's on my other account, J Stillwell 1980, and you watch the 4 Gospels exposed, I will go in much greater detail and cite many more contradictions in the Bible. So I reject the notion that he could be the precondition for intelligibility or for logic. So yeah. Well, just about out of time. I'm going to have to make a continuation of this video and do a part 2. And thank you for tuning in. Don't die, and please subscribe.